Hi guys, it's Mrs. Cowan doing a little guest appearance here on the Flip video. I'm going to talk to you guys about the funnel method, and this is a method that we use to write an introductory paragraph. You might have also heard of it as an inverted triangle, maybe back in 7th grade. Now the whole idea of a funnel method introduction is that you start really broad, get your audience involved, and then you focus your argument down to very specific thesis statement. Okay? So the first part of your introduction is going to be a very broad idea, a hook or a universal truth, and we'll talk about what that is in the next board. Then you're going to make a connection between your broad statement and what will eventually turn into your thesis. Then you are going to transition. So from those connections, you're really going to try to focus even more down towards your thesis statement. And obviously the last statement will be your thesis statement. That is the most important sentence of your essay. That, by reading your thesis statement, I should know exactly what your essay is going to be about. That's what you're trying to prove. Okay, so let's take a look at an example outlined introduction. The first paragraph, first sentence or couple of sentences is going to be a hook or a universal truth. That's what's going to really bring your audience in. You could have a quote from a famous person, you could have a quote from a well-known president, or any sort of statistician, whatever you find that is going to bring your audience in. The one thing you really want to stay away from are rhetorical questions. They are not appropriate in an essay. They are very appropriate for a debate, but not for an essay. So after you have your universal truth, that next sentence is going to explain that universal truth. Maybe you can explain it by connecting it to a historical event or some sort of current event. And there's many for the Electoral College. After you've done that, after you have introduced your hook, you've explained it a little bit, you're going to transition. You're going to start to introduce the arguments that are going to be in your paper. And finally, the very last sentence of your introduction is going to be your very specific, descriptive thesis statement. What are you trying to prove? This statement should answer that. You can go to my webpage if you'd like to take a look at some example thesis statements and some ideas of how to write a very strong thesis statement. Now, one thing you might want to think about when you write this introduction, this might be the very last paragraph you write of your paper, because all of this information is going to be addressed in the regular part of your paper. So I'd strongly suggest doing that last. And now to Mrs. Lacey.
Okay, so that was our special guest appearance for today, and I'm sure you'll see Mrs. Cowan again in the videos. I want to talk a little bit more about how to actually do the outline. So at this point, you've done all your research. You have all your facts. You've had how many days to work on this assignment? You should have 10 to 20 index cards or a couple pages of notes. So when you go to do your outline, you're really just going to organize the notes. So what we do is we use this outline method. This is what the high school uses, and your colleges will require this of you. That's why we're getting you prepped for it today. You do a Roman numeral. That's going to be for your paragraph. So you know that's going to be body paragraph number 1. Then what you do is you indent. That shows us a subtopic. So you want to make sure that you're always indenting when you have a new topic. That's when you're going to use a capital letter, and that's where you're going to put your topic sentence. All right? Then you're going to indent again because you have your topic sentence, but remember, you're trying to prove something. Your thesis is the idea that you have something to prove. How do you prove it? You have to support with evidence. So, first supporting evidence. One piece of evidence does not win a case. 2 pieces of evidence does. Now this is going to come from somewhere else. So you have to make sure that that information is being cited. And I'm going to show you examples. Then you indent again because, and so you could have an indent here and an indent here, we go to lowercase letters. So we went Roman numeral, capital letter, numbers, lowercase. This is where you're going to, here's this magic word, warrant. To warrant the evidence, that just means you're putting it into your words. You're explaining why this fact is important. Then you do your concluding sentence. All right, so we're going to do a quick example because when you do an outline, the only full sentence is going to be your thesis. So, for example, now we're doing these in outline form too. Roman numeral number 3. This happens to be, pardon me, body paragraph number 2. What's my topic sentence? Well, that's my first argument that I mentioned in my introduction. Candidates only campaign in swing states. Excellent, great argument, but that doesn't mean anything unless I can back it up with facts. Here are my facts. These are the swing states. Well, Where did I find that information? In my outline, I want to make sure I know where that information came from. And it came from 270 to win. So I put that right in my outline, as you should have done in your facts, which I'm guessing you didn't do yet, but that's okay. We'll cover that. You'll just have to go back and look for it. So then I'm going to do what? I'm going to find out that $3 billion were spent in those 6 states as opposed to $1,000 in all the others combined. Do not use this fact, I made it up. Do not use this fact, I made it up. All right, and there's the bell, so that means I've got about 10 seconds. So, who said it? John Doe of the Washington Post. I'm making sure that I'm including that next to the fact. Then what am I going to do? I'm going to summarize that, so I'm putting it into my words. All right, well, there's an inequality and an inequity of money and candidate face time in those states. So here what I'm doing is I'm saying, here's a fact and here's a fact, and now I'm putting it into my own words, and you conclude. So this is what your outline is. Is this a lot of work? No. All this information has already been done and researched. All right, all you have to do is start organizing it, and then you take this information and you write that into a rough draft. The best rough draft is handwritten. We're going to do another flip video which shows you how to cite your sources and what that should look like another day. All right, there you go, guys. Have a good day.